Hey all, and welcome to Shadow Space, and we are commenting on another BCP video. This is called Billionaire delivers devastating retaliation blow to Zohran Mamdani as socialist threat backfires. This was uploaded May 5th. Make sure. Yeah, May 5th. This is being recorded May 7th. I guess I've been saying that. I should probably check that too. Yeah. May 7th, and link is in the description.
Citadel blasting New York's mayor Zohran Mamdani for singling out CEO Ken Griffin in a push for a new pied-à-terre tax in New York targeting wealthy non-resident homeowners. At issue is this social media video. It was filmed right outside of Griffin's New York residence, in which the mayor unveiled that proposed tax on homes valued above $5 million when the owner's primary residence is outside of New York City. In a memo obtained by CNBC, Citadel said that targeting Griffin showed, quote, ignorance and disdain towards contributors to the city's economy. Citadel highlighted that its employees, including non-residents, have paid nearly $2.3 billion in New York City in state taxes over the past 5 years. And the memo pointed to the firm's planned redevelopment of 350 Park Avenue, a project expected to generate about 6,000 construction jobs and more than 15 past 5 years, and paid nearly $2.3 billion in New York City in state taxes over the past 5 years. And the memo pointed to the firm's planned redevelopment of 350 Park Avenue, a project expected to generate about 6,000 construction jobs and more than 15,000 permanent roles, with spending to exceed $6 billion. And I think if you really read the memo carefully, there's a little bit of a threat in there.
Several days later.
Speaking of warm greetings, I was going to do this, wanted to do this interview outside your apartment, but I thought it would be creepy and weird. So how did you feel about the mayor's little video?
Did he even see it?
Weird.
Agreed.
I mean, like, knock, knock, knock on the window. Like, huh. Mayor of New York
knock
City.
on the screen, yeah.
Yeah, on the screen, like.
Yeah.
Like, that's
How many times have you watched that video?
3.
Oh,
3.
never mind.
What are you going to do about it?
I couldn't help myself.
You had to what?
I had to go back and look at it again. I mean, like, you literally look at the first time and you're like, you got to be
This
kidding
isn't
me.
real.
Okay? And then the second time you're like, you know what, this is actually.
Someone made this.
Creepy to actually not really creepy. This has gone frightening because, you know, the CEO of United Healthcare was killed just a few blocks from my house. And anything that creates like an agitation in the extremist on either side of the aisle is a frightening dynamic. I mean, you know, if we look at what happened in D.C.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So,
I mean, is he wrong?
we got to talk about some bad.
I'm not going to live in a state where you, Zohran, say, I'm going to target this person specifically so that people can, right outside of his house, so that people can go to his house and potentially threaten him with violence.
Bad,
Like-
bad.
You literally doxed him in that video. Literally said, this person is not paying his fair share. This is where he lives. This is his house in the neighborhood. That's what you did, Zohran.
Bad news for Socialist Mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, and Democrat Governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, both of whom are in bed with far-left radical lunatics. Okay, Zohran more so than Kathy Hochul, but Kathy Hochul decided to get on board with, you know, Zohran and his socialist nonsense, at least in rhetoric. And that's why she's now part of this, right? And I'm sure she's regretting it because she's also facing backlash with Zohran Mamdani
No, they want
over
it.
the
Let him
latest
do
virtue
it.
signal from Zohran, in which he made a video, an ad video, like he's still campaigning for whatever reason. He made an ad video outside of Billionaire, CEO of Citadel, Ken Griffin's house, as he advertises his tax to rich scam, right? In which they're going to tax the second homes of individuals who do not live in New York City, like Ken Griffin. And again, Zohran thought it'd be a good idea to single him out, right? This one billionaire and his home, and that pissed Ken Griffin off to the point where Citadel put out a message basically insinuating that, we may rethink this large project that we're doing in Manhattan that's going to bring billions in revenue and thousands of jobs, right? We may rethink participating and going forward with this project because of Zohran's little video.
See, and it's one where if I were Zohran, I would be saying, good, we don't want you. We want our community members to make small businesses to fulfill those needs that you were fulfilling. So I don't know why Zohran's answer would be anything other than, fine, go. I don't think he cares.
And
he doesn't. I don't think he wants
closed
him.
doors, and you know this because Zohran and Kathy Hochul started scrambling to meet with Ken Griffin right after this came out.
Why?
In order to see if they could remedy the issue.
New front in Manhattan's tax tussle with billionaires, business leaders, and politicians all in the mix today.
Oh, so it's what I said about Starbucks in Seattle, that really what they should be doing is they should be going to these wealthy billionaires and they should be saying, hey, we need more money. What can we do? They're not doing that.
Is meeting with billionaire Ken.
They're saying, we're just going to implement policies that are going to be more antagonistic and harmful to you, whether you like it or not. That's not listening to your constituents. This person, like it or not, Zohran, is a constituent of your district. You are purposefully harming him because you think that doing that would better serve the community, without even asking him if he could actually do it. You just assume.
Griffin trying to ease tensions with the hedge fund CEO over the proposed pied-à-terre tax. Eyewitness News reporter Lindsay Tuckman live outside the governor's office on Manhattan's east side. Lindsay?
Yes, Sandra, the governor actually said that this meeting with Ken Griffin was scheduled months ago before that video went viral of Mayor Mamdani talking about the billionaire in regards to the pied-à-terre tax. But despite it being scheduled several months ago, we all expect that it is likely going to be a big topic today. We also understand that they will be talking about the future direction of New York City in this meeting. We are here outside of the governor's office, but this also comes as local city leaders are discussing ways to close the budget gap in the city. Now, Ken Griffin is the billionaire CEO and founder of the hedge fund and market trading firm Citadel, and it is, again, expected that him and Governor Kathy Hochul will be discussing the tax on second homes that has been proposed in New York for second homes worth more than $5 million, aka the pied-à-terre tax. Now, Griffin made headlines recently when Mayor Mamdani called him out, as well as his Manhattan home, by name in a video pushing for that tax. Griffin called it a personal attack that could be rather dangerous to have his home online like that. Mamdani, meantime, though, has been pushing to quote-unquote tax the rich, pleading as well for more money from state lawmakers to close the city's $5 billion budget gap. He will also be meeting with business leaders here in New York. Specifically today, Mayor Mamdani is meeting with Bank of America CEO Brian Moynihan this afternoon, and this comes after he met with Chobani CEO Hamdi Ulukaya on Monday. So as for what Griffin and Hochul will be discussing, well, the CEO was at an investment conference in Oslo this week where he said they're likely to talk about his company's planned office tower at 350 Park Avenue and if that still will be moving forward after this event. Governor Hochul also spoke about their meeting.
I meet business leaders all the time. This was previously scheduled. We just changed the exact timing of it, but I already had this on the books. I meet business leaders all the time. So we booked this a while ago.
We'll talk about our future direction in New York. Here's the real question. Is New York going to put their fiscal house in order and run itself from a position of a strong government that's pro-business? Or are they looking to play?
I don't know. Do you think free buses is pro-business? Do you think daycares for free daycare is pro-business? Do you think getting rid of land ownership is pro-business? Do you think getting rid of business ownership is pro-business? Like, if he's going to be opening his own state-run grocery stores, then that means that entrepreneurs aren't opening those grocery stores. The state is. That's driving out competition. That's driving out other businesses. Is him opening these grocery stores a pro-business position? I don't think so.
Why do the Americans think we can do socialism? Like, we have none of that in our DNA, and we're just going to screw it up.
Well, on that note, members of the New York City Democratic Socialists, as well as other local leaders and
this is what you get, is every single state is standing there with its handout saying, we need more. But you don't produce enough to actually distribute those resources evenly everywhere. So some people get a lot of resources. They get a whole bunch of infrastructure overhaul, upgrades to infrastructure. They get the high-speed rail and the electric charging stations. Other states don't, because the money isn't there for it. Some places get built up, some places get neglected and get run down. That's socialism. They think that there's an infinite number of resources that can be unlimitedly evenly distributed when there aren't. That's a lie.
New Yorkers are planning to rally outside the governor's office here later tonight. That's why you can see these barricades have been set up. And that is because there was another rally and protest held recently where 19 people were arrested. Obviously, that they do not want that to happen this time, but the ralliers say that they will be pushing for further taxes on the rich.
It's what I talked about the other day, where you still have to collect the resources and refine the resources. That still only happens at a rate, which means that you can only build so far as your supply holds out. You can only use the resources that are refined for you to use. Once those resources are used, you have to wait for more resources to come in before you can use more. You can't build a house with loaned lumber. The lumber isn't there yet.
Including a raised tax for New Yorkers making more than $1 million. That protest is being held later tonight. Live on the East Side, Lindsay Tuckman, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, to answer Ken Griffin's question of why does America think that we can do socialism, well, I think it's very simple. Well, the reason why is because, unfortunately, due to the fact that we have a generation of individuals growing up in this country who are losers, okay, or they have a losing mentality, they have a victimhood mentality. Ultimately, that is the default go-to of those who are just not good at life, right? Who aren't good at capitalism, right? It's very simple. It's very simple. The reason why is because you have people who
No, it's because socialism markets itself as a utopian ideal, but existence is not inherently utopic. They're struggling to control a system to get it to look like how they want, except that's not what the system is. That's not what it's intended to be.
losing at life, and because they're losing at life, they look at other people who have more than they do, right? Who have actually been successful in life, and they say,
no, they want everyone to have Lamborghinis. Okay, well, what that means is that every other car manufacturer goes away and manufactures only Lamborghinis. They're mass-produced, which means that they're cheap, which means everyone can afford one. But that means that you don't get BMWs. That means you don't get other brands of luxury cars, because you're only making the one.
you don't deserve it. You did not earn what you got. And that somehow, some way, because you have more than me, you did me wrong. You robbed me in order to accumulate your wealth or to have your success.
Well, because yes and no. Like, from a financial perspective, yes. But it's when we're like, you all buy the food. Like,
which is a loser's mentality. It really is. And it bothers me. It really does. Especially when you talk about a...
because it should motivate you. You shouldn't be afraid of it. It should motivate you to want to do as good of a job as you can. It should motivate you to not quietly quit, to not show up just to get a paycheck. It should motivate you to want to do what you can to stay employed. That means maybe not taking a sick day. That means maybe working overtime when there's a concert that you want to get tickets to go to.
Younger generation of people. There are a lot of young people who are crying and complaining about life as if they actually know what having a hard life is like.
Well,
you just don't.
Because I imagine you probably watch Caleb Hammer a lot. A lot of I guess I don't know a lot of them. I guess I don't know. I don't watch a lot of his videos. From the videos that I've seen, a lot of them is just they don't pay attention to what they spend their money on. If you don't have a plan for how you spend your money, you're just going to spend it however you want. If the plan is to save, you have to make sure that you're actually leaving a little bit left over to save.
Even in today's economy, which I'm not saying is great, right? Even with the things that we're dealing with today, moving forward into the future economy, again, we're in a transition period. You still have more opportunity and resources than any other human to live on this earth, right? I mean, when you look at specifically the United States of America, right, the amount of access to markets, capital, knowledge, resources. I mean, everybody essentially has access to worldwide internet, right? Everybody has a supercomputer that they carry around with them, right? Stuff that people didn't have in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 60s, and before that, right? Where people actually had to do real physical labor, okay, in order to earn.
Or like doing research. If you wanted to do research, you had to go to your public library, and you had to read, and you had to do actual research. You couldn't just get on the internet, go on to Google Scholar or whatever, and look up the articles. You would have to you would have to either subscribe to the publications and actually read through the articles, read through the research, or you just wouldn't know. You would have to hope that it was covered by a documentary or your state and local news or something.
Okay, there are a lot of people who grew up during that time, their bodies got brutally beat up and used up in order to make a living, right? And they weren't living that great, even if they were middle class. It wasn't that great. Yeah, they were able to afford that home, but that home was not that big, right? It was not that nice. It was not that extravagant. I guess my point is that there's more opportunity today, despite the challenges, despite the obstacles, for young people if you are entrepreneurial, you have intellectual curiosity, and you have a winner's mentality. Okay? So,
No, because at some point, it doesn't even turn into a winner's mentality. It turns into responsibility and direction.
if you're a self-starter, if you are interested in learning about new topics, right? Always building skills, And if you have a winner's mentality, you have a whole lot of opportunity, especially heading into the future economy where we're going to be moving away from traditional employment, right? And people are going to have to embrace untraditional employment, which sounds scary. But again, if you have all these traits that I just outlined, if you're entrepreneurial, if you're willing to learn, if you have a winner's mentality, that actually creates a whole lot of opportunity because technology is allowing people to do things faster, more efficiently, and cheaply without having to need a whole lot of capital to do it. Like, for example, back in the day, you used to have to hire people to make, a website, right? Nowadays, you can make a pretty basic website with a click of a button. And if you really know what you're doing, you can comfortably use AI in order to do coding, right? And to do certain tasks for you.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's the thing, is you can use a template, but if you do have a little bit of basic programming knowledge, you can go in there and you can screw around with the source code as much as you want with the template.
I mean, I use AI all the time to create business models, to model things out, to brainstorm, certain businesses, certain, investments that I'm looking to make, certain businesses that I'm looking to buy. I use it all the time. It can literally do the job of an investment banker or some private equity analyst. It can literally do their job.
See, and it's one where, so you invest your money somewhere where you don't have to pay commissions, somewhere where you can make your own investments, and then you completely cut out the middleman.
To use it correctly, I can't stress to you how many DCFs I've made over the past year or so. It saved me a whole lot of time that I've had to spend doing that over the years. But I don't have to anymore. So it's stuff like that where, if you're entrepreneurial and you're willing to learn, right? You're willing to apply yourself.
Either you play the game, you learn the rules and you play the game, or you don't. You either learn how capitalism works and how to manage money, or you don't.
You're willing to grind, right? Technology is actually going to create opportunity. But the unfortunate reality is that there are a lot of people who don't have those traits. And unfortunately, a lot more people are going to embrace socialism because they're like, well, all these people are winning, right? Who, again, are embracing untraditional.
Well, because, again, you have middle-class people who are championing socialism. That isn't going to benefit you. If anything, that's going to benefit the homeless guy living in the storm drain, the homeless person living in the storm drain. That's not going to you. That's not going to help you.
Employment, right?
It's
who applying themselves.
people who aren't going to pay for it being led to believe that they're going to benefit from it when they aren't.
Those who are grinding, who are saying, okay, this is what I got to do to get ahead. While the people who are boohoo, whining, crying victimhood, oh, woe is me, the billionaires are bad. Those people are going to get left behind. And they're going to love socialism. They're going to demand socialism. They're going to demand it. So, I mean, that's just the unfortunate reality. I mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying this because I care about my audience, right? And I always want to make sure that even though these videos are political in nature, that I am passing on wisdom to the audience and telling people what I really believe, which is that, everybody should strive to work as hard as they can, okay? Always be self-improving and always be learning.
Because the problem is that even if you have a hierarchy where everyone is actually the same, you have a society where everyone can only do 10 push-ups. So in terms of how many people can do push-ups, it's 10 across the board. You're still in a hierarchy. There's still a person at the top who's in first place, and there's still a person who's at the bottom in last place. Just because you all share that spot doesn't mean that you aren't still categorized that way. Basically just, there isn't a scenario where everyone can win because resources are finite. There's only one iPhone that's a specific color in this store. 2 people want it. One person is going to get it, the other person is not going to get it. One of them is going to win, one of them is going to lose. That is reality. Some people will be winners, some people will be losers. Is the point to cushion the blow for the losers so they have a more vested interest in playing the game, or is the point to just continuously reward the winners? If you looked at nature and existence, it would be continuously rewarding the winners. But that isn't a fair system. That means that everything that doesn't win is a loser, and everything that's a loser is destined to just die.
And if you do that, you're gonna be fine, right? You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be successful. And I really don't like the victimhood that has infected this country, especially in younger people, because we used to be a country that embraced grit, that embraced the grind, that embraced entrepreneurship, that, you know, it was never woe is me, right? Like, we just overcome. And now, again, it seems like the default thing to do is to cry and to play victim. And again, I think that this is something that we're seeing a lot in young people, and it really bothers me. And again, that's why I'm taking the time to say all this stuff, that if you are a young person watching my video, you should embrace the grind, that the American dream is still possible if you work hard, if you work smart, if you take risks, you maintain discipline, and you have delayed gratification. That delayed gratification part is a huge one, right? That's the part that most people, they don't want to do that, right? That's the hardest to get people to get on board with, okay? Delayed gratification. That, you know, you can't have what you want right now.
Well,
you gotta know
arguably, see, because it isn't even delayed gratification. You eventually have to move into the mindset of, you should do things not even expecting a reward. You should do things not expecting recognition. This is DEI. If you thought that it was a good idea, and you wanted to do it, you wouldn't need laws forcing you to do it. You wouldn't have to withhold funding from people in order to make them do it. They would want to just do it. It's artificial.
you want to be in 20, 30 years, and then work your way to that, right? And to make all the right decisions, and to say, hey, I might not have fun right now.
Because you're going to make wrong decisions. You're not just going to make right decisions all the time. Sometimes you're going to fail. Sometimes you're going to do something that you wish you hadn't done, and you can't take it back. Sometimes you're going to blow up the leader of Iran. Can't really take that back. Can't really roll that back.
Every day working. I might have to work 7 days a week, right? 8 hours, 12 hours a day. But that is what's required to get better than mediocre results, right? That's just what's required. If you want to be better than mediocre, you got to put in more than mediocre effort. If you put in mediocre effort, then you're going to get mediocre results. And I mean, mediocre in America is really not that bad, but you know, the socialists pretend as if it's the worst thing ever. So if you really feel that way, then yeah, I mean, you got to put in more than mediocre effort.
No,
if you want to get
the only thing, like, I don't know if this guy still works or not. The guy, this Ken Griffin. I don't know what he does. I don't know if he works. I don't know if he's retired. They act like he sits around all day and does nothing. They act like even though he's the head of whatever businesses he runs, that he just sits around and does nothing. Wasn't it Kamala Harris the other day who said that she was running around doing stuff? I can't remember who it was or what they were even talking about. These people don't just sit around all day. They have lives. Like,
better than mediocre results. Okay, anyways, I'm going off on a tangent that I did not mean to go on in this video. Ken Griffin is responding to the mayor of New York and the governor after he met with Kathy Hochul, right, about this issue. And it seems as if he's doubling and tripling down on Miami, right? So without further ado, let's get into this.
So where does that leave us at 350 Park?
That leaves us with the fact that we went to Miami and revised our building plan to make it a bigger office building.
Wow.
You're bailing?
So what do we do at 350 is still a point of discussion internally, but what is no longer...
It isn't that he's exactly closing his doors in New York, but he isn't expanding in New York. It's what the argument of oh, what is it? What am I thinking? I don't know, I lost it.
A point of discussion is that Miami is not...
It's Seattle. It isn't that they're closing that office in Seattle, or Starbucks. It isn't that they're closing that office in Seattle. It's that they're opening another headquarters in Nashville. It's that they're expanding outside of the base. They are moving part of their tax revenue to a different part of the country. Whoops.
Now, you know, when we moved from Chicago, there was a debate between New York and Miami. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. I'll leave it at that. It's unquestionably true that we made the right choice. And now what the mayor of New York has made clear to my partners, and principally my New York partners, is that we need to double down on our bet in Miami, because we want to be in a state that embraces business, that embraces education, that embraces personal freedom and liberty, and that embraces people having an opportunity to live the American dream.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, well, if you listen to Mamdani, the American dream is not owning a home, having the state own the businesses, and free buses.
Wow. So let me translate what he's saying, just in case people don't understand what he's saying. Should be very simple to understand. Well, what he's saying is that, hey, look, when it comes to New York, we're going to have internal discussions about what we're going to do there specifically. But when it comes to any new investment, right, expansion beyond that, right, or outside of that.
Why should he do it? If Zohran is just going to take the money from him because Zohran thinks that he can do it better than him, then why? Fine, I'll just pay you more in taxes.
We're going to double and triple
my building plans, I'm going to take him somewhere else.
Down on Miami. We're going to a red state, and we're going to invest in a state that actually appreciates business, a city that is pro-business, that's not out here.
And Zohran doesn't like businesses, doesn't want businesses. So I don't understand what the problem is.
Billionaires, openly, right? They're going to go to a place with good taxation that they can grow, and they're going to bring a lot of jobs. They're going to bring a lot of opportunities that New York would have gotten that they're now not going to get because of the mayor and his little stunt. And this is why I say, in order to
that's what they want. That's what he wants.
Give them what they want. They don't realize that poo-pooing billionaires, the same people who are responsible for generating the revenue that you need to pay for your socialism, because it ain't free, right? It's not free. Poo-pooing billionaires, probably not a good idea. Probably a bad idea. You might not want to bite the hand that feeds you, okay? But these people are radicalized. They're radicalized. And they're clearly not thinking straight, right? And the frustrating part about this is that this is all ideologically driven, right? It's not driven by...
Well, see, so if it is ideologically driven, then they are thinking...
results or empirical
They're
evidence.
just thinking with the presupposition that socialism is good as the default, as the base.
Right? It's all ideology, right? That's what it is. I mean, let's be real. These people, they just hate billionaires to hate billionaires, right? And I understand. I will never get it. I will never understand.
You can build true logic off of false presuppositions. Excuse me.
Why do you hate somebody for being successful? Why do you hate somebody for making a lot of money? And see, what these people really don't understand is that
Because they want a lot of money, and they think that this person does nothing for his wealth. They think that he sits around all day, watching porn and jacking off, and literally is just given his wealth. That's what they think.
at that level of wealth, it's not really about greed anymore. A lot of these guys aren't doing it because they're like, oh, I want to make more money. Like Elon is not doing what he's doing because I need to make more
I mean, why would you build a hospital? Why not just build a mall? Or
money. No, he's doing what he's doing purely out of purpose, purely out of self-drive that, hey, I want to impact the world and other worlds as well too, right? I mean, technically the moon, Mars, right?
no,
He wants to make
space.
this specific impact. And money
Our place
really
in it.
is not the end. If anything, it's probably simply just a means of doing that. And along the way, he's helping humanity in a positive way. When you talk about what he's doing for ALS, his Neuralink business, startup, whatever you know, I'm not even sure if you can call it a startup at this point. Like, when you talk about what he's doing,
I don't know.
that's only possible with capitalism. You don't get that with socialism.
Well, you do get it with socialism. The difference is that you have to go, because I've said this before too, you have to go to Zohran Mamdani, get on your knees, and say, what can I do to get you to fund this program? And then you have to hope that he does it. You're trading capitalism, which is your ability to provide for yourself, and you are giving it to the government. You are making a king. Zohran is your king. You have to, if you want something, you have to go through him to get it approved, because he has the resources that you need to start your business. You don't get to own the land. You have to ask him, can I use this for this? And he has to approve it. That's your socialism. Sounds like a king to me. I don't know.
And the crazy part about it is that these socialists, they're benefiting from the results of capitalism.
Isn't it amazing that the people who sit there and yell, no kings, literally elected a king to have a kingdom?
These people have a platform.
Bizarre.
The only reason these people are taken seriously at all, the only reason why they have influence in our politics is because of capitalism. Because capitalism created platforms for them to be able to speak freely.
Well, no. The reason is because we don't have a kingdom. Is because we don't have a dictatorship. Is because they sit here and they say that they don't have the right to speak while using platforms and speaking. Like,
This country that they believe is being taken over by fascism, right? Where they can freely criticize the billionaires. Zohran made a video in front of this guy's house.
sitting here saying that the government is antagonistic, sitting on 40 some odd acres of land, literally living the American dream.
Which, in my opinion, I think is dangerous because you have these
Like-
far-left lunatics celebrating assassinating CEOs, right? So, of course, you're going to have these same CEOs who are going to say, okay, cool. Well, if you don't appreciate what I'm doing, the positive impact I'm making on your state, on your city, then I'm going to leave. In fact, there are a lot of billionaires that are pissed off about this. For example, there's another billionaire, Vornado Realty Trust Chairman Steve Roth. He went off on Zohran Mamdani in an earnings call that was released today. Take a look.
Business at Vornado continues to be
Earnings call
Hold up.
that was released today. Take a look.
Oops. Vornado, here, hold on. What is this called? Zohran Mamdani's viral video outside Ken Griffin's penthouse shocks Vornado CEO. Ugly, unnecessary. Vornado Realty Trust Chairman Steve Roth went off on Zohran Mamdani in an earnings call on Tuesday, calling the mayor's public mugging of billionaire Ken Griffin a blunder and an ugly, unnecessary video stunt. It was about time New York's heavy hitters in real estate finally came off the ropes against the communistic mayor.
Zohran Mamdani, in an earnings call that was released today. Take a look.
Business at Vornado continues to be excellent, and it's getting better and better. We are riding the wave of a strengthening, long-lasting landlord's market. And New York is by far and away the strongest real estate market in the country. Michael will get into the details shortly, but today I have different fish to fry. And I will ask the first question. Question: what do you make of the spat between Mayor Mamdani and Ken Griffin, and how will it affect your 350 Park Avenue development? Answer: let me begin by saying that I do not and cannot speak for Ken, but I do unambiguously stand with him. And notwithstanding the mistakes and bad form of the recent video that went viral, we are pulling for Mayor Mamdani to succeed. Let me establish my credentials. Vornado is a New York company, and I am a New Yorker, born in Brooklyn and attended DeWitt Clinton Public High School in the Bronx. Both Vornado and I are lucky to be New Yorkers. My daughter and 3 granddaughters live in the Bronx, and my son and his family live in Brooklyn. My wife of 56 years and I live and work in Manhattan. We follow the rules and we pay our fair share. Vornado will pay $560 million in real estate taxes this year, and I'm pretty sure that's in the top 3. And that doesn't begin to count the personal income taxes that I and our Vornado population pay to the city and state of New York. We work our asses off, and we are not boastful. We are very proud of our lifetime of achievements. We are the company that is investing billions to transform the Penn District. New York is a union town, and we are a union shop, employing thousands of hardworking New Yorkers in our buildings and on our construction sites. The ugly, unnecessary video stunt is personal to Ken and sort of personal to me, too. You see, Vornado and I are the developers of both 220 Central Park South residential building and the 350 Park Avenue Citadel Tower. We are all shocked that our young mayor would pull this stunt in front of Ken's home and single him out for ridicule. This was both irresponsible and dangerous. As I said, Vornado is the owner of the 65-year-old building on the Park Avenue block front that will be raised to make way for the Citadel New York headquarters tower, which will employ thousands, further cementing New York as the financial capital of the world, and pay significant taxes, and on and on. This building is being designed by the same Foster and Partners architectural team that designed J.P. Morgan Chase's new headquarters down the block. This is now the If We Move Forward project. Now, a project of this scale takes years, and we have already worked with 2 prior city administrations, both of whom have recognized the benefits and have been enthusiastically welcoming and supporting, as evidenced by the rare unanimous ULIP approval for this project. Demolition began literally days ago, and we at Vornado are ready to go.
Yeah. So you see, now you heard that. That guy was like, hey, look, this is now.
See, he definitely said that the video was ugly and unnecessary, but at the same time, he didn't say that he was going to stop construction. So
The If We Move Forward project, right? If we move forward, because Ken Griffin is pissed. He's pissed. And there's a real debate about whether or not they're going to move forward with this project due to Zohran's little stunt. Which, again, I don't blame these guys for being upset, because you have far-left lunatics assassinating CEOs and celebrating it. They've essentially made the assassin a deity-like figure, right, in some of their far-left circles, right? So, yeah, Zohran singling out Ken Griffey like that, again, it's a dangerous thing. And I totally get why they're pissed. Because if this becomes commonplace, basically they're putting targets on the backs of billionaires. Because again, these far-left lunatics have shown that, hey, they believe in violence in order to get what they want. And they think that billionaires ought to cause all our problems, right? So because of that, hey, you got a lot of these people saying, we're moving away. We're leaving. We're done. We're not going to do business with people like this. We're just not going to. And you should do business with socialists. Socialists are not good people to do business with, unless you are a socialist. Unless you're selling them socialism, right?
Well, see,
That's great.
even then not. Because, again, if you can't gain their favor in order to get a favorable distribution of the resources, then you're going to get stuck left holding the bag, being like, well, where's up my share? They're going to drop one single grain of rice into your bag and then tell you to go away. That's socialism.
Great business. Selling socialism. Hassan Piker's business is a great business, right? Kyle Kalinski's business is a great business. Breaking Point's business is a great business. When you
selling socialism is a good business.
You're selling
you get
people
it?
socialism,
Yeah.
right? TYT, right? Yeah, when you're selling people, so that's a great business. But being in business with the socialists,
Well,
probably not.
but once you implement socialism, all of that goes away. And who did you give your wealth to? You gave it to Hassan. He has it all. So
Great, right? Just ask those who, tried to unionize against TYT, right? What it's like to do business with socialists. So, with that being said, we're going to see what happens. I personally think that they should just pull out, right? Put your money where your mouth is. If you're mad, if you're upset, it's easy. Just pull out. Just pull out. Build in Miami, build in North Carolina, build in Tennessee, build in South Carolina, build in Alabama, build in Mississippi, build in Georgia, Texas, Kentucky, right? The Midwest, right? Build in red states. You don't have to worry about this. So do what you got to do. Pull out, right? Pull out. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
see, but he didn't sound like he was going to pull out. I was confused. I think I was a little confused by what he had to say. Because it was one where he was condemning Mamdani in the video, but then he seemed like he really wanted to support New York. Like, he said that he wasn't. He thought the video was ugly and unnecessary, but then he wanted Zohran to be successful. Zohran being successful means that he pisses off the billionaires. But he wanted him to be successful, but then called him out and said that it was ugly and unnecessary. I don't get it.